Welcome, people of the World Wide Web. So it's the weekend, and as you know, I've snuck in another movie review. There hopefully will be a few more of these around this time because I've been able to see a few bits here. But obviously, as the title would say, I've been to see the new film Wonka. So anybody that doesn't know, this is the story of Willy Wonka, obviously from the Ronald Dahl book. This is him making his journey basically from a young man into the chocolate entrepreneur that we know him from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. This has quite an ensemble, very British. This comes from the creative geniuses and the director and the writer and that who all did the Paddington movies, so 1 and 2. So you'll see there's a lot of cast members in there. There's a lot of people that worked on both, and it has that same sort of feel, which I think is really refreshing. So you have basically the story is you have a few flashbacks of Willy Wonka when he was a young child. Unfortunately, his mum passes before he has a dream that he wants to come to fruition. He comes to London, and his journey is to open a chocolate shop, and unfortunately his plans don't go to he doesn't get his shop at first, because obviously there are other chocolate people out there who basically monopolize it, and they're corrupt and everything, as you'll see with the police and stuff. And that's it, and it's just he makes a few friends along the way, and how they kind of all work together to hopefully get the conclusion that they're expecting. So that is kind of an overview of what this movie is. Now, I really did enjoy this movie. I took my wife and my in-laws, and they really loved it as well. So the one thing that my wife did say is Timothy Chalamet, Timothy, how to pronounce his name, he plays Willy Wonka. She thought Gene Wilder did a far better job of it, which I can understand that. And with this movie, you kind of have to take out what you know and take this as a standalone movie. This is essentially a new version of him. I'm sure he has quirks now, but don't compare, just treat it for what it is. And I think you'll thoroughly enjoy it. You won't have any problems, because I did, because obviously Timothy, however you pronounce his name, it was either going to be him or Tom Holland, and I think they far had the better choice in my eyes. But anyway, let's bang the spoiler review up and let's get into it. So, as I've said, so this is a story. It starts off Willy Wonka. It's quite musical. Obviously, the original had music in it. I don't know if the songs are that catchy, but they are enjoyable to listen to. And obviously, it does sprinkle the dust of the "Come With Me" song. You know, "Come with me, and you'll be." It sprinkles that throughout it, which kind of keeps him with the tone. And obviously, he comes to London. He has some money, and he sings about it. And unfortunately, he loses all his money, and he ends up staying with these. Two people played by Olivia Colman, and I can't remember the other guy's name. Both did really, really well, and obviously he then gets tied into a contract which he doesn't know because he can't read. Spoiler alert, apologies if that has done. And it's basically his brain and how it works and stuff, and him making friends with a young girl called Noodle and a few other people that have been imprisoned there, and him trying to make his chocolate factory against all the other kind of chocolate entrepreneurs that are out there who kind of monopolise it. It is done very, very well. Thoroughly, I say, the music, I say, isn't as catchy as it could be, but it is still really enjoyable. I enjoyed every step along the way, and I'm not going to give too much away because I think the whole journey you need to enjoy. There are a few twists and turns I saw coming, but that's how my brain works. I see things because I've seen so many movies. I pick up on things a lot more. But I love it. You know, there were a lot of, say, Paddington characters who come across here. Hugh Grant does brilliantly as an Oompa Loompa. Now, I know this was a bone of contention before it, but if you read into this, obviously this is based, or some of the ideas were based from Ronald Dahl's original book. Now, an Oompa Loompa is only up to someone's kneecap, or a full-grown man's kneecap, so you couldn't get a physical, real-life person to play it unless you had a 1 or 2 year old that was very, very talented, very, very talented. So basically, it would have had to be somebody of a bigger size, and it would have had to shrink him down. Now, obviously, hiring Hugh Grant, you bring in people who like Hugh Grant and want to come along. You actually have all these years of expertise, and he actually does really well. He is, I think he's Lofty, his name is. Oompa Loompas have their own individual names, which I didn't know about. and he does really well. He only comes in bits and pieces. He isn't in it as much, but it works very well. I think he was actually a really good casting. This is one of his really good roles in later life. Timothy, I thought he did really well as it. It was a very interesting angle to go for him to have a friend, and him to, you learn more about him, that he was a bit of wanting to be a wizard as a kid, and he knows magic and a little bit of sleight of hand and the stuff that worked really well. And then you have his story of why he likes chocolate and why he wants to make a chocolate factory and stuff like this. And all of that worked so well. I mean, with the cast and everybody, they had their own little mannerisms and little jokes and little quirks and stuff, and it all worked really, really brilliantly. And obviously then it all comes down to a combination of, does he get, you kind of, he's going to kind of win out. Obviously he has a rocky journey getting there, and then you do kind of see at the end him kind of building his factory, but in a castle, which I didn't know. I didn't know if this is a start of something that they're going to go on to me. I would have liked for them to maybe have made this like a trilogy, to have Wonka as like him doing well, getting his friends. The second one is him then maybe having the shop, and then him kind of building up to the factory, which would be the third one, which could be Willy Wonka and Chocolate Factory. And you kind of have the more presence of him, and as obviously the actor grows older in real life, he could be a bit more of a class presence, and bring a bit more quirks into it. That was my thinking. But I'm going to give this movie 7 out of 10. I actually thoroughly enjoyed this. So there were a few bits. The ending, I said I wanted a little bit more, and the songs didn't really hit, so that's why it's a little bit low. But anybody who has a family, young or old, who want to go see this will thoroughly enjoy it. There is something for everyone, and I think this is a very testament. I think this is potentially, obviously, if you like the Paddington movies, that's the same sort of feel that you've got going on, and I think they've done really well. The acting, I liked everybody. I know my wife didn't necessarily like the main bloke who played Willy Wonka, Timothy. I used to be able to pronounce his name, and for some reason, really liked him. But or she didn't really like him compared to Gene Wilder, but I thought he was really good as a standalone, not comparing him to Johnny Depp or Gene Wilder or anything. But anyway, that has been my review of the movie Wonka. Have you seen this movie? Let me know in the comments down below if you have, and what your views. Do you agree, disagree with me? Otherwise, I've been Cypher Sigma Screen Time. Hope you've enjoyed this movie review. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the things you want to do. Hopefully you're having a nice Christmas break, and I shall definitely see you in the next one.